Kamala Harris back in the news. So exciting. She's not giving up. She may run for governor of California. She may run in 2028. She's not convinced she shouldn't be allowed to do that because, you know, she didn't get to go through the whole process this time, and it was an abbreviated campaign. And she got to speak recently at a DNC event that happened on Sunday. Joe was there. There was a love fest with Kamala and Joe and Jill and so on. And here was a little bit of how she sounded in SOT 12.
So look, the holiday season is one of my favorite times of year, that and my birthday. and our wedding anniversary, of course. Just gonna keep digging this hole deeper and deeper. So important this holiday season to remember we all have so much to celebrate. We have ideals that we're very clear about in terms of their importance and the importance of us fighting for those ideals. We know that fighting for the promise of America takes hard work. Now, y'all can help me finish this. Many of you have heard me say it.
But we like
hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And in the new year, we will continue our work with hope, with determination, and with joy. Let us celebrate the blessings we have. Let us celebrate in advance the blessings we have yet to create.
All
Megyn,
of it
every
is so
syllable,
wrong.
every syllable calculated to drive you insane.
I'm
She's
so
so
glad
good
to be
at it.
unburdened by that. I am unburdened by
so
that, which is a
classic.
blessing.
If
So
it
can
were
we just
scripted,
spend a
saying
minute-
how do we annoy Megyn? That's exactly what
She's-
she would say.
She's like she's the world champ. Can we spend a minute on the opening? Like I said, the holiday is such a special time of year to me. Hello, that's how almost everybody feels. There's nothing. She's classic for taking something that is a completely banal statement, trying to make it sound special. Like, I just love the holiday, the time of year. Oh, you do? Really? Do you find the twinkly white lights everywhere and the Christmas carols kind of charming? Hello, we all do. Only the worst Scrooges would say something else. Oh, and also my birthday. Oh, and our anniversary. Oh, I'm just going to keep digging that hole. No one's laughing with you. This is not funny material. No one was like, you didn't mention your anniversary. That's not how people think. Sure, she's so off. She's like, I don't know what it is. She's just off socially. I don't know if she's got a disorder. She's like got a whatever. What is it? Neurodivergent? I have no idea.
Megyn, I want to just be the first to say it here. I am throwing my full and complete endorsement behind Kamala Harris for governor of California or president in 2028, whichever she wants.
Seconded.
I want her to go forward so bad.
Let's donate.
This would be the best Christmas present ever. And I love this season. I love it.
You're so special in that way. I'm going to max out to the Kamala Harris 2028 campaign, Dan. How about you?
No, I will not be. I mean, look, I think there's three things about her here. I think one, much to my surprise, I think Mark, Sean's, there's been very little talk since the election about her as a candidate. The fact that she was indecisive, cautious, kind of playing not to make a mistake. Those are the same things that brought her down in 2019 and surfaced again in 2024. The second point is candidates that run three times and are successful, like Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, they're consistent in their views, in their policy positions, and the country kind of comes towards them, or in Trump's case, they come back towards you. She was the definition of inconsistent, right? She was very progressive in 19. She was, in her telling, a moderate in 24. What would she be in 2028 or even for 2026 in California? And the last thing is she has no real power base within the party that you would say, okay, this is a formidable block. How do we kind of get through them or peel off people? She didn't raise $1.5 billion this time around. The opponent of Donald Trump raised $1.5 million, and that happened to be her. But the grassroots is not in love with her. Major donors were not in love with her. And so I think if she were to run, the best thing that ever happened to her was not having a primary, because if she would have had to have picked, a moderate or liberal position on issue after issue, in a primary, explain why she had changed her positions or not changed her positions. She, last time that happened, she didn't even make it to Iowa. So I think whether she runs for president or governor, she would face a lot of challengers. And I would, not be confident if I were her that she would be victorious.
Follow up to you, Dan. Why haven't there been articles dissecting her weaknesses as a candidate? I feel like I'm the only one who did it in a long episode we released shortly after the election, which was very honest about her failings. Why haven't we seen that?
I honestly don't know. Mark has asked the same question here recently, and I don't have a good answer. I think there seems to be a lot of finger pointing at Donald Trump. There seems to be an effort by her senior staff to say we ran, I think one person said, quote, a flawless campaign, to which Chris LaCivita said, yeah, you can't lose and say you ran a flawless campaign. But there is just this kind of, excuse that the winds were so strong. Trump had such the upper hand that really there was no way we could win, which I just don't believe and find the data doesn't back that up. I don't know, Megyn. I do believe that in the new year, when people thinking about 2028 start to emerge, that they will make sure that she goes through the barrel, so to speak, that these stories do come out. But for now, agree. I can't believe it that she's escaping criticism personally.
If she skulks off into the night, they'll keep their fingers off the keyboards. But if she's like, yes, I think I might be the one for 2028, they'll get her. They're going to start pummeling her. The Kathleen Parkers of the world who are pushing Biden to dump her off the ticket when he was still the nominee will be right back at it, like hard no. So what do you make of those possibilities, Mark? Governor of California or possibly, once again, running for the Democratic nomination and possibly president?
I don't like to never say never, but I find it hard to believe that she could build support. The stories, it's so disappointing to see our colleagues, just as they did during the 4 years of the Biden administration, failing to cover the truth right before our eyes. Is her poor performance the only reason she didn't win? No, but it's right up there. It's right up there. And no one drafted her to run. She chose to be the nominee. And she owned a calendar when she chose to be a nominee. She knew there were only 107 days. And she knew what her limits were as a candidate. So I think both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have escaped a lot of the blame that falls to them. And that's not just my view, but the view of a lot of Democrats, donors and members of Congress, et cetera. I think her chance of being governor of California are greater than being the Democratic nominee. But I don't think they're as great as people say because, again, her challenge is her weakness. She does not like to make difficult choices under pressure. And that is the job description for running for governor of California, being governor of California, running for president, being president. So I think she might try, but I think she'd be surprised at how tough it is. And finally, I would say, I'm not sure she wants to be governor of California. It's not a great job right now. And so why she'd run and risk losing? And then if she did win, get the job, I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really hope she finds that confidence and barrels down with that hard work is good work philosophy and runs. Don't let those mean guys tell you can't do it. You go, girl. Sean, there is an article, and there have been a few like this, but it's an interesting one, not blaming Kamala Harris for the loss, but acknowledging that the Democrats are now behind the eight ball when it comes to the culture and where our culture is and it's going. This is in Semaphore today. Max Taney wrote it and interviewed Harris's deputy campaign manager, Rob Flaherty. And this is sort of how it sounds. Flaherty and the Harris team decided to book her on sports shows, Taney writes, and podcasts. But one by one, the biggest personalities in shows politely turned them down. They didn't want anything to do with this race or this particular nominee. I would venture to say they probably would have gotten a different answer had we been talking Barack Obama in 2008 when the digital lane was not a thing. They go on, the Flaherty goes on to say to Max Taney, yes, we skipped major legacy news due to a shorter campaign and data that showed that our audiences overwhelmingly supported Harris already. There's just no value with respect to my colleagues in the mainstream press in a general election to speaking to the New York Times or speaking to the Washington Post because those readers are already with us. Pretty interesting admission by this top Democrat. Like they're completely in the tank wouldn't be surprised to hear Megyn Kelly saying that or Sean Spicer, but there it is. Literally in black and white from her top campaign guy. We've got them. Everybody who reads those two publications is already a Democrat. And then this is the interesting part. He's talking about Trump's venture out into the, quote, manosphere, the podcast with Sean Ryan and Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan. And he says as follows: it's not as simple as just go on Joe Rogan and talk about how great democracy is and the importance of preserving the independence of the DOJ or whatever. You've got to speak their language. As long as we seem like the party of the system, the people who are anti-system and are looking for anti-systemic media, we're going to have a hard time connecting with them. I actually think that's a very smart point, and he's totally right. Like she couldn't have sold it, Sean, had she gone on Joe Rogan and just done what we just saw there. Hard work is good work. But the people who are in this digital lane have already made up their minds about the legacy media, the systems of government that have thumbed the middle finger at them when it comes to the truth, right? He's right that the barrier is even higher to persuading the people who listen to these shows that they should give these guys a chance.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, the bottom line is the same poll that I was referring to that I posted on Instagram. We talked about it on the morning meeting shows. Streamers, YouTubers, people who get their information there voted for Trump. Take a look at it because they're right. The people who read the legacy media, the New York Times, Washington Post, watch NBC, they're with her. The difference is that we talked about this, I think, this morning, gentlemen. AOC and Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump have a degree of authenticity to them. And they can pontificate for a while and talk about themselves. I watched Donald Trump for as long as I know him. He did an interview with Tiffany Smiley, I think it was, on the Moms for Liberty event in D.C. And I went to talk to him, and then I stayed for the event. And she did this moderated Q&A with him. And I was like, my gosh, as long as I've known him, I've never heard him tell these stories. He can riff. He can hang with the best of them. When you can hang for 3 hours with Joe Rogan, that's not about specific policy pronunciations. It's about getting to know you. And that's what Rob Flaherty was really getting at that. But just go back to the premise of what he said. We tried to book her on sports shows. Why would you do that?
For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1 ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchased Silver Eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.